Hello and welcome. I'm Bruce and this is Speed and Color. Mac and I are happy that you've joined us today for this first episode of Speed and Color. We thought we'd take an opportunity to share with you where we see the podcast going, what we're doing here, and what our intent is. If we do a good job, I guess that means we might get you back for more episodes. This first episode is really just an introduction. We have plans to develop the show going forward, but for today we just wanted to give you an idea of the format, what we want to do, where we're going, and maybe we'll get some input from you as well. So why are we doing this? Neither Mac or I are professional podcasters, broadcasters, whatever. This is really, what happened is a good friend in the motorcycle industry came to me, and this was a while back, a couple of years ago, and he said, you know what you really need to do? And I said, no, what do I really need to do? And he said, you need to do a podcast. And at first I thought, okay, he's lost his mind. But I thought about it some more, and I started doing research, and I started listening to podcasts and just, trying to get a feel for this whole thing. And the other thing I did is to start narrowing down the subject. Originally it was pretty broad. Motorcycles covers a lot of territory. So we did start to narrow it down. And we've come up with a plan that I think will make a decent show and will keep you happy. So that's the what of why we're here, or our purpose. And I'm going to let Mac explain the so what part of that.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. So we have three goals with this podcast or this show. Those are going to be to inform the listeners and the viewers, provide knowledge and experience and value out of what you're listening to. The second one would be to obviously entertain, to bring personal stories, entertaining custom bikes, and a great culture. And the last thing would be to inspire people to experience what we have experienced before in building these motorcycles, and to see if we can grow this industry and this culture just that little bit more. I think it's very important. And we were at a rather big bike event last night, and in all honesty, there was a lack of choppers.
Yeah. Okay, in my world, there's always a lack of choppers, but Mac is absolutely right. I guess I will say to that you will notice on the show that Mac and I probably favor old school choppers and bobbers. That doesn't mean that we're going to focus the whole show on that. There's so much going on in the motorcycle industry. There's so much good new stuff, new technology. There are events to cover. There's interesting people, and there's just so much. We are going to make a real concerted effort here to make sure that we don't get pigeonholed into our chopper bobber bias. But I think we can do that. I think we can keep this fresh and light, and I hope we can bring you people that are interesting and again, people that will inform you and inspire you. And of course, if we do that, then we've entertained you as well. So that's where we're headed. That's what we want to do with the show. In terms of format, you're seeing or hearing Mac and I today. And that's fine. We have to introduce this and kick it off. The format we plan on is to have a lot of guests on the show. So you will find us possibly here in the in the home studio, so to speak, in my shop. But we're gonna go out into the motorcycle world, and we're gonna interview people and talk to people right out where they live and in their shops, and see how that works for us. I think it's going to make for a much more entertaining show, and give you some better insight into people and what they do and how they work and where they work. So that's part of what we're going to do. In terms of frequency, again, Mac and I both work full time. This is very much just a part-time passion. So we're going to try and get some episodes in the can and be able to post regularly. I don't know if post is even the right word, but to post regularly every 2 weeks, a new episode. So you can expect bi-weekly. Is that what that would be, is bi-weekly?
Yep.
Bi-weekly episodes from us. I think I can share with you that the upcoming episodes, so we're calling this Season 1, Episode 1, is our introduction to the podcast. Season 1, Episode 2 will be an interview that I'm going to do with Mac so that you know more about who Mac is. Episode 3 will be
an interview with Bruce, and to
There you
get to
go.
know Bruce a little bit, and kind of where we both are similar in this industry, in this culture, and then where we'll also differentiate.
Yes. So for the next for the first 3 episodes, you're going to be stuck with us, but hopefully you'll learn more about us, and we'll get this down a little bit better and polish our format a little bit here. But then episode 4, we're going to strike out into the motorcycle world and go do some stuff right on site and talk to, if we don't believe they're interesting, we won't talk to them. So anybody we talk to, we're going to believe is an interesting person. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go out and do that. In terms of what we can do for you and the format down the road, one feature that we would like to incorporate is a product feature. As builders, riders, like I said, the technology is getting so good and everything. There are tools that we come across, tuning aids, helmets, safety gear. There's just so much stuff that you come across being in the business that we're going to share some of those items with you in a product feature, I guess we could call it. The other thing that I think we'd like to incorporate would be a mailbag. We'd like to hear from you what you think. Love to hear what you think of the show, because that'll help us make it better, or to keep doing the things that you like. We'd also like to know what features would you like? What would you like to know more about? Questions you have, questions about building, which we may or may not be qualified to answer. If we're not qualified, we'll go find you the answer somewhere. Questions about anything to do with custom motorcycle culture, we'd try and get answers for you. So those are some of the things we'd like to do. Again, we'll take your feedback right off the hop here. As soon as you want to give it to us, we'll be happy to hear it. And we're gonna move forward with this and see what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Any thoughts?
Well, just to expand on what you said a few minutes ago, and going and speaking to people and doing interviews with people, I think that's going to be something that is really exciting for both you and I, as well as the viewers. We plan to go to a bunch of local shops, a bunch of local bike builders, maybe even just some people that are in their own garage that have gained some sort of following. But where I'm very interested, and we've spoke about this before, is when we go and speak to these individuals, to get their individual stories, to see where they came from, to see what led them to do what they are doing now, and what inspired them to do it. In my opinion, that is going to be that's going to be priceless.
Yes. Yes. Everybody loves a story, and there's tons of stories out there. There's some great characters in this business, and as I say, the idea is to inform, entertain, and inspire, and we'll try and find the right people to do that. Looking forward to episode 4.
So episode 4, we will be featuring a couple that have started a local shop called Ill Fated Customs. We're going to be interviewing the 2 owners of that are very passionate about motorcycles of all kinds, whether that be Harley Davidson, Kawasaki, Vespa, doesn't matter. They work on them all, they fix them all, they customize them all. And these are just the kind of people that we're gonna interview and see how it all started, because they've obviously built it into something unique, something that is obviously profitable, but or B, fun. They
Yes.
enjoy it, and you know, for most of us, that is something that's hard to come across in your career choice, is, you know, doing something that is making you money, that helps you live the life that you want to live, but at the same time you enjoy it and it brings you passion.
Yes, absolutely. And I will, without giving too much away or getting into details that we'd rather hear from the guests, I will say that there's quite a story behind the name Ill Fated Customs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know that story, you'll be interested in hearing it. It's pretty good. So that's where we're headed. That's what we're doing. We're having fun with this. We hope you'll enjoy it. Anything in closing, Mac? Anything we need to talk about?
We're just starting off, so, you know, be patient with us. We may stumble a couple of times in our speaking, and but for the most part, do your best to follow us, to subscribe, and we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, to what Mac just said, when I was doing research on this, I got pointed in the direction of a couple podcasts, and the feedback I got from the people who listened to those podcasts and suggested that I listen to it was that the podcast was like they were sitting down in the shop with those guys. It was casual, it was fun, it was easy to listen to because it just felt like you were in the same room as them, and everybody was just having a conversation. So again, we're not polished at this. We're gonna and ah the odd time, and we're gonna stumble, but it's real, and hopefully you'll be comfortable with us and feel that, yeah, you're just sitting here with us, having a conversation, learning some stuff. So that's where we're headed. That's what we're going to do. Speed and Color, the podcast, Speed and Color on YouTube. We will also, I will say that there are some podcasts that I've seen lately that are on YouTube with a still picture and the audio track, and that's not what we're going to do. We're going to try and provide you with an actual video on YouTube, and again, we're going to do our best to make sure that if you're listening to the podcast, you don't get lost wondering what are they pointing at, and on the video, we're going to do our best to make sure that it connects with the audio so that you're getting a full experience either way. Anyway, that was a sideline. That was a little bit about how we want to use the two formats. Video is certainly becoming more and more common. It seems to be a really good way to go with these things. Mm-hmm. But of course, you shouldn't watch a video while you're driving your motorcycle or your car going to work. So the podcast kind of works for that. Anyway, I could go on, and I will in another episode.
Thank you very much for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you on episode 2 of season 1.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Speed and Color. We'll see you soon.
Yes.
Well, what do you think?